Tampa Police Chief Dugan tells 8 on Your Side it's no secret the past 18 months have been a struggle between managing a police force this size during a pandemic and the calls for police reform after the murder of George Floyd. Our sit-down interview began with the simple question, why retire now?
The last 18 months have been a struggle. I'm not going to lie about that. It's no secret. What has gone on in our country, from the pandemic to the civil unrest to continuously dealing with the pandemic, and the loss of a police officer was heartbreaking for me, and I just decided it was time for me to go.
When Dugan was still Tampa's interim police chief in 2017, one of his first major tests was the Seminole Heights serial killer.
It was an opportunity, for 51 days. And the way we knew it was 51 days is we literally counted every single day of when these murders started to where we were and whether we had made any progress in the investigation. And what it did was give me an opportunity to meet the community and the community to get to know me.
This past March, Officer Jesse Madsen veered into the path of a wrong-way driver and became the first TPD officer in a decade to be killed in the line of duty.
When I left Jesse out there and went to meet Danielle, that was the longest drive of my life. When I had to get down on one knee at his funeral and present her with a flag that had draped his coffin is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Following the civil unrest after the murder of George Floyd by Minneapolis police in May 2020, Chief Dugan says the expansion of body-worn cameras has been the most meaningful change for the Tampa police force.
I don't think it's the answer to everything. I don't think it's the solution. But when we're able to control the video and we're able to send our own messaging out and show all the good that the cops do, I think that's the number one thing.
8 on Your Side asked whether the cameras should be the standard for all Florida law enforcement agencies.
It develops a mode of transparency and trust, but it's an economic issue. We all want transparency, but do we want to pay for it?
In the months after the George Floyd protests in 2020, Chief Dugan clashed with the Tampa City Council over how to build better trust with the community.
The frustration was that here we are a year later after George Floyd, and they're still trying to make a decision. And I felt that we needed to put some of this stuff behind us so we can build on the foundation that we have.
Despite the ongoing challenges from COVID-19, Chief Dugan tells 8 on Your Side he's optimistic about the future for the Tampa police force.
And the foundation is here that once this pandemic is truly over, we can bond with the community that loves us and we love them, and this department's going to roll forward.
His best advice for Tampa's next top cop?
I think that the next chief has to be a good listener. They have to be flexible, and they have to be patient. Probably more patient than I was. I don't have the patience for a lot of things. They'll probably need to be a little more politically correct than I was, but sometimes my candidness got me in trouble, but you have to be you, and I think if I wasn't allowed to be myself, then I don't think I would have been successful.
Chief Dugan tells me he's unsure what his future holds, but at 54 years old, he says after some time off, he'll likely need to find another job. Meanwhile, Mayor Jane Castor has selected Assistant Chief Ruben Delgado to be acting chief while she conducts a national search. Chief Dugan's last day on the job is this Friday. Reporting in Tampa, I'm Justin Schecker, 8 on Your Side.